Hello everyone. This is Tobi from the Phuket Meditation Center, and you're listening to the Dharana Meditation Podcast. Let's sit together, calm the busy mind, and explore topics concerning character development, meditative training, and deeper self-knowledge.
So let's start by sitting upright. The head is suspended from above. The body is relaxed at ease. You can take a few deep, long, comfortable breaths. Allow your belly to slowly be the center of your breathing. Gently smiling a bit with your lips, your eyes. Receive yourself with kindness, with compassion. There's nothing to change, nothing to fix, nothing to control. So we simply open up to the way it is. That's already an aspect of kindness, to allow reality to be just the way it is, rather than to approach it with this idea that it is broken and that I am here to fix it. During meditation, there's only two things that are important when it comes to the way that you respond to yourself or this moment. If your response leads to an increase of tension, of suffering, of stress, then that's an unskillful way of responding to this moment, to the reality, to the way it is. If your response leads to ease, to a sense of softening, opening up, relaxing, and that's a skillful response. So compassion means that you become sensitive to the ways you produce tension around this moment. And then stop doing that. Instead, you let go, you relax. You give yourself a break. And we're going to start doing this just on the level of the body at first. Breathing in, feeling your legs. And breathing out, softening, releasing your legs. Letting go of all the unnecessary tension, layer by layer. Let it all melt away, let it dissolve. Finding some joy, some ease within each breath. Each time you breathe in, you want to fill your legs with consciousness, with mind. As you breathe out, softening, letting go, opening up. Breathing in, feeling your belly. Breathing out, softening, releasing through your belly. Feel all the layers of unnecessary tension gradually evaporate and dissolve. Softening the muscles, softening the layers of tension that are underneath the muscles. Also notice that once you let go, once you relax a little, it always feels a little bit better, a little bit nicer, a bit more open and comfortable. It's really important to notice that and be aware of that little improvement and enjoy. Breathing in, feeling your heart, your chest. And as you breathe out, softening, releasing the heart and the chest. Staying aware of these little improvements, enjoying them. It's really important to practice appreciating all the little tiny moments that are good, that are enjoyable. It counteracts this habit and focusing on what doesn't work, what's painful, what's unpleasant, which is not really helpful at all. Breathing in, feeling your shoulders and your arms. And breathing out, softening, releasing your shoulders and your arms. Notice each time you go into the direction of letting go, opening, releasing, that it feels a little better. Enjoy, appreciate. It's that joy, that appreciation that will lead you deeper into the practice. And breathing in, feeling your head. Breathing out, softening, releasing the head. Especially forehead and eyes, jaws and base of your neck. Keep in mind those little improvements and enjoying them. Breathing in, feeling the entire body as one unit of feeling. As you breathe out, softening through the whole body. Let your whole body become hollow, soft, spacious. As if your whole body was made out of breath. Remember to notice and appreciate those little improvements. Every time you do, you take one step into the right direction. Feeling, softening, enjoying. The more joy, the more comfort you can find in this moment, the less your mind is going to want to be distracted. Distraction is always a sign that your mind is uncomfortable in this moment, so it wants to escape, wants to move around. But if the mind is comfortable here and now, there's no reason for it to escape. So finding comfort through release within this moment is absolutely crucial for the mind to converge, to come back to itself, and to let go of the senses gradually. you may notice that you have now become much more present. There's much less of a tendency for the mind to wander off into the future or the past. And what makes you very present is to connect with what is actually happening right now. For example, feeling is one of the things that are happening. Another one is sound. Each time you listen to the sounds around you, you become present. So as long as you're experiencing feeling or sound, you're in the moment, mind and body are united. And that takes you a little deeper into the meditative training. Just enjoying the simplicity of being here. There's nowhere to go, nothing to attain. Everything is already here. You've already arrived. This whole idea that you need to get somewhere, that you need to be waiting for something to happen, is a lie. The truth is that you are already here. And it is already like this. The only thing that is missing for most of us is just making peace with the way it is. Knowing what is happening while it is happening. Where is my attention right now in this moment? Is it with a sound, with a feeling? Is it with a thought? What am I aware of right now? Notice how that changes us, how everything is constantly moving. What you are aware of right now, this second, is not what you're aware of in the next. Has already changed slightly, or perhaps even a lot. If you like, you can slowly come back in your own time. Stretch your body a little bit. Try to keep that body-mind connection. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you. All right. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about one of the necessary elements for meditation to go deeper. That is surprisingly very often overlooked completely. So there's a lot of meditators out there, practitioners that want to train their mind, that want to be a bit more focused, a bit more peaceful. And they sit down diligently every morning and every evening perhaps, practicing to still their attention, practicing to still their mind. And maybe doing that even for years. And nothing much is happening. At some point, they'd plateau with their practice. It just doesn't evolve further. In the beginning, there was some change because, first of all, it's novelty. You're doing it for the first time. So, of course, you notice changes a lot. And so that motivates a lot of people. Okay, just keep it going. And as they keep it going, at some point, it just doesn't change much. Even after years of doing the same thing, the same result. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Sometimes very distracted. Sometimes relatively focused. But no greater evolution is taking place. And this is because, as I've said so many times, on one side, this is because that lifestyle that you're having is interfering with the practice. So what you do day in and day out, that has an impact on what you do when you sit down quietly. Quite a significant impact. Much more than a lot of people would like to admit. And so there is the first kind of sacrifice that you need to make. Is you need to take away some of the things that you currently feel like you need, but that interfere with your practice. So what could that be? Perhaps use your phone a little less. Perhaps consume a little less news. Perhaps a little less music that you're listening to during the day. A little less conversations that you have with other people. So you make that little sacrifice, and you will notice that as a result, your practice improves, it gets better. There's more stillness. As a result, you go much deeper. There's more pleasure, more fulfillment within that moment. And as a result, then not so much need anymore to look for happiness around you within music, conversations, distractions, etc. So you make a little sacrifice and you get big return. In the end, that part is about energy management, really. It's like we do many things every day, day in and day out, that cost us energy. It costs you energy to use your phone and to consume information and to digest that information. That costs you energy. And you're making an investment. The question is that a meaningful investment? What about the return of that investment? Does it give you what you're actually looking for or not? Does it make the mind more peaceful, more happy? Does it make your relationships better? Does it improve the way you're able to render service to the world? Or does it disable those good qualities? Does it make you more distracted? Does it make you more nervous, more frustrated, more dependent? You have to answer those questions for yourself, particularly if you really want to evolve. Because there's many things that we do each and every day that keep us from evolving. And you kind of got to walk as a very, very fine line to make sure that you're not jumping into extremes. An extreme would be, oh, I notice it's bad to use my phone, so I won't use it anymore whatsoever. And you just throw away your phone. And you then realize, oh, it's bad to have conversations as well because they distract me. And you never have conversations anymore. You become this kind of hermit type person. It's very questionable. At some point you will find yourself without anything that gives you any pleasure, and that will not help with spiritual evolution. It will just make you poor and miserable. On the other hand, if you do not give up things that distract you and that confuse the mind whatsoever, you think that you can then make progress in your meditation practice, I'm sorry, but it doesn't work out that way. You have to make sacrifice. You have to put aside some of the things that you perhaps are addicted to, that you really don't want to give up. My idea is then to just give it up a little. Not too much. You don't want to make yourself miserable, but you also don't want to block your spiritual progress. Because once you find better levels of happiness through your meditation practice, you become less and less dependent on other things anyways. So that need to do other things gradually falls away. If you walk that fine line properly, then that's the evolution. A little sacrifice, a little return, and less dependency. But the thing that I wanted to talk about today, which is equally as important, is what you do when you actually practice, and throughout the day as well. It's to find happiness. To direct your attention to what is good, what is pleasant, what is easeful, what is nice, things you enjoy. And in meditation practice, since the whole topic of the training is around releasing, you want to find that happiness within that release. So every time you let go, notice that it's a little bit better. This is quite big, actually. A lot of people don't notice that it's getting better because they're so focused on what doesn't work. I'm still way too distracted. There's still way too much pain in my body. So even when they let go a little bit and it's gotten a little better, they don't notice because their whole attention is on the pain, on the problem. And they think, before I have solved that problem perfectly, I can't possibly relax. It's that kind of perfectionism. I need to feel great. Anything lesser than that is just not valid. The thing is that you can only feel great if you notice carefully all the various stepping stones that lead to greatness. And then you follow them and you step on them. You cannot just suddenly end up experiencing great bliss, great happiness, if you haven't appreciated the little moments of bliss. My grandmother always used to say, people who don't, I am trying to translate because she said it in German, people who don't honor the cent are not worthy of the dollar. Something like that. So if you do not respect, in Thailand it would be the stang, then you're not worthy of the baht. You're not worthy of the bigger note. And if you think, that's just 1 cent, that's just 25 cents. What am I supposed to do with that? It's worth nothing. It's worth a lot. A dollar is made out of, 100 cents or something, right? So that it's 100 times that little value. In meditation, it's the same way. Great bliss is made out of many little moments of bliss. And you need to accumulate them. And you can't accumulate them if you only want to have the dollar, or maybe the $100 or $1,000. You're focused only on the $1,000, and anything prior to that is worth nothing to you. You will not get the $1,000. But if you're able to celebrate like little tiny achievements on the way, then you are actually getting there in much more ease. The whole journey becomes more pleasant. And your likelihood of attainment is much higher. Like the little kid that sells lemonade in front of their house and they make their very first sale. There's some people that frame the first dollar that they've made. It's very often extremely wealthy people that did that. They frame their very first dollar that they've made, put it into a frame. Yeah, that's how much they appreciate little moments of success. They celebrate them. That's very good. You kind of want to do the same internally. Frame those little moments of bliss and put them on the walls of your mind. That was when I experienced release for the first time. Just by relaxing your muscles a little, not holding tension in your shoulders habitually, but by dropping them. Perhaps for the first time that you dropped them so much, you didn't even notice that you could drop them that much. You didn't even notice that you were holding them up prior to that moment. That's a moment worthy of framing. And even smaller than that, much smaller than that. Just a little bit better, 0.001% better. Right now I'm not feeling comfortable. Okay. Where is the discomfort? Well, it's like around the front of my face. So I release, I become aware of that moment, I feel it, and as I breathe out, I release just a little. It's like around my eyes, around my forehead, I just soften a little there. Then as I do, it feels a little better. And I enjoy that. And I spend a lot of time enjoying that. I think that's exactly what I want, actually. That little feeling there is what I want. So you can ride that wave more and more deeply. In fact, you will only go into deep meditation if you can sustain concentration on one single facet of experience for prolonged amounts of time. This is very difficult. Everything we do up to the point where we enter meditation proper is meditation training. So what we're doing here right now is meditation training, in my opinion. It's just we're cultivating the causes for meditation to arise. Meditation proper is a whole nother ball game of experience. To me, meditation means having completely let go of your senses. You're not experiencing anymore sound, sight, smell, taste, touch, and thought. There's none of the objective experiences anymore in your field of consciousness. There's none of that there anymore. That's a significant experience. This is very, very powerful. I put the bar up very high from the get-go. I don't want to set a low bar. I want to put it up very high so that I continuously know that there is space above me that I need to approach. It keeps me humble. And thus it keeps me open for learning and progress. Rather than setting a low bar and then feeling like I'm the champion of the world, I'm a meditation master, giving myself all kinds of titles and telling my friends that I've been meditating since 20 years. And that's just confirming a sense of self, a sense of ego, and it keeps me stuck right there. As soon as I consider myself to be an expert of meditation or a meditation master, I'm stuck right there. I can't evolve anymore because I'm already the expert. I'm already the master. A lot of people do that, especially nowadays. Do a little weekend course or a little retreat, and then they think they're already like super amazing meditators or something like that. I don't know, it's perhaps part of the culture nowadays. Everything needs to be super fast. People have no more patience anymore to do one thing for decades. And then, only then perhaps, maybe, can they be called master by others. Not calling themselves anything. That's like a form of narcissism. I'm an expert, I'm a master. I don't want to be an expert, to be honest. I don't want to be like some sort of master or something. It's like I'd really, honestly, rather stay a student. Much more opportunity to discover, much less responsibilities, much nicer. So, setting up the bar very high, understanding that meditation proper is something that is truly putting you onto a level of sainthood. Makes sure that you're not only cultivating the right kind of thing that actually empowers you to a great extent, but it also makes sure that you stay humble. So, having said that, having a high bar is important. However, you then need to also appreciate and enjoy all the little small steps that you make. Privately, for yourself. Not to share it, but to learn to privately enjoy the simplicity of a little good experience that you've had in your practice. And it's that joy that gradually pulls you deeper into the practice, because it will naturally prolong the time that your mind dwells with the object. Let's say my object is breath. I'm doing classic breathing meditation, so I'm being with the mind on the breath. I'm keeping the breath in mind. And if I continuously forget the breath, that is because my mind is distracted. It moves to other objects all the time out of habit. It can't stay on the breath for long enough for meditation to arise. As I said, you'd have to have long sustained periods of your mind being just with a single object. If you've ever done meditation practice in your life, you will notice just how volatile, how fragile the attention is, how difficult it is for it to stay on a single object for a long time. If you do, even just for 10 to 20 seconds, approximately, to stay on one single object, fascinating stuff is going to happen. Apparitions of light, a loss of body consciousness, deep kind of absorption, incredible sensations of bliss and happiness. Even doesn't take that long. It's that powerful. What if you could sustain it for much longer? It's funny, sometimes you ask people, how long can you concentrate for? And then people would say things like, oh, well, for 45 minutes or sometimes for 2 or 3 hours. But concentration is not just having your mind on a field of subjects for a certain time, but concentration means having your mind like a pinpoint on one single point for a prolonged amount of time. How could you do that? To put your mind on a single point? The answer is joy. If you enjoy that point more than anything else, your mind doesn't want to move. It doesn't want to go anywhere. It's so content with that singular experience. It's so happy that it just keeps going deeper, deeper, deeper into it, to a point where meditation will arise. So that's the secret of going deeper. You've got to find that joy, you've got to appreciate the little moments that feel good in your practice. Ride them, extend them, stretch them out. So that is a big part of the practice. Yes. Finding the joy, appreciating it, and stretching your experience of it. The more you find the joy, the more you will feel drawn to the meditation practice. Also throughout your day-to-day life, you can't wait for your evening sit. You can't wait for your morning sit. It's like you fall asleep in the evening, you think, soon I can wake up and I can do my sit. Because it feels really good doing that. If your meditation becomes kind of like an experience that would perhaps be even similar to that of a junkie looking for his drug. You really want this experience. All you think about is that experience. Like the alcoholic that only thinks of alcohol all the time. How do I get my next shot? And, they hide bottles. If it's getting really bad for the alcoholic, they would hide bottles in their homes and so make sure that the family doesn't find them and just flush them down the drain or something like that. So they start hiding and they start drinking alone. It's not a social thing anymore. They start drinking alone by themselves. Compare that to your meditation practice. You have like little hidden moments, like you're sitting on the park bench and you just sneak a little 5-minute meditation in. Just like the alcoholic that sneaks a little sip when he gets the chance. Similar, because it feels so good, because it pulls you out of suffering so effectively. This is the whole reason why people take drugs, by the way. It's just, it liberates them from suffering for a temporary amount of time. They don't have to deal with the heaviness of life. That's why it's so attractive. It pulls them. And not only that, they observe once the heaviness of life is gone, happiness is there. They feel fulfilled, content, good for that time until the drug weans off. The problem with drugs is you compare it to meditation practice. The problem with the drug is that it ruins you and destroys you. You pay a very high price for the experience. It destroys your mind, destroys your mindfulness, it destroys your autonomy, the autonomy of the spirit. It makes you dependent, it enslaves you, etc., etc. The opposite is the case with meditation. So meditation is the only thing that the Buddha would have encouraged his practitioners, his students, to practice a lot, to seek out all the time. Do jhana, he always said that, do meditation. Do it a lot. He kind of limited the range of possibilities that his students had to get happiness from outside. Like the monks couldn't get that. The monks have to stay in the monastery, they cannot walk around too much, they can't listen to music, they can't entertain. It's all taken from them. But the Buddha said, here's one way you can get your happiness, and it's meditation. So it's an incentive. Cultivate it so that you're not just having a miserable existence as a monk or a nun. You can actually find exactly what it is that you're looking for, but from within yourself. You can produce your own happiness, your own bliss, your own goodness, without being dependent on a substance or a thing or a person. So that's true emancipation. It's true liberty that you have, freedom. You're not depending your happiness on anything, any time, any person, any substance, because you can produce it yourself. That means freedom. That equals freedom. Imagine you are that happy that you do not need anything anymore. You're totally at ease. You're perfectly happy with the most basic things or the most luxurious things, like it doesn't make a difference to you. It's not like, oh, I'm happy because of an expensive watch, or I'm happy because I'm eating at a 5-star restaurant. That's not why you're happy, actually. The reason why you're happy is because your craving, your desires, the tension in your mind and your body falls away temporarily. The hunger is stilled temporarily. That's why you feel good. So every time you enter contentment and happiness through your practice, by just appreciating those little moments of good, you cultivate contentment. And you cultivate the opposite of the fault-finding mind, finding happiness and pleasure in this moment, and that will get you deeper. Guaranteed. So it's two things that really get you deeper into meditation practice. One is your lifestyle, your behaviors. Modulate them so that they support your meditation practice. Each time you sit down and you meditate, you can see, well, what about my lifestyle and my behavior? Because meditation practice is like a mirror. It will reflect to you immediately, right in this moment. How am I doing? If your head's full of songs while you're sitting down and doing meditation practice, you're listening to much music. Like you can't concentrate because the music is being digested in your mind. Your mind is full of information, it's super noisy. If you're feeling frustrated, if you're constantly thinking about your business, you're too busy. You need to reduce the busyness. Contemplate death. It helps. Think about that business is not everything in life. There's more to life than just working hard, making money. You know? All these things, you need to address the lifestyle and personality, character type problems. Fix the leaks. And the second one is find happiness in your practice and cultivate things that give you that happiness and connection with the meditation. Okay? So that's all that comes to mind for today. That concludes this topic.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and had a meaningful time. For more information and upcoming events, head over to our website at phuket-meditation.com. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.